Hey guys, Alpha Fish here. Today we're going to be talking about KVK and how to finish your solo war every single time. So, if you guys have been playing for a couple months, you've probably have been in a KVK by now, and they pop up every few weeks, every like 2 to 3 weeks. Um and if you've looked at the rewards, you'll notice that Solo War has the best rewards of any other game event that I've seen, right? Um, so we are going to talk about a couple of methods of getting points to complete your solo war. So let's start out with just war in general. So with this game, war is the basis of the game, right? Like that's the whole game is revolved around RTS, which is real time strategy, war, attacking people, so on and so forth. It's a natural part of the game, natural occurrence, and depending on your size, it could be very, very tough, it could be very fun, or it could be very devastating. So, tough is when you're like really small and you can't really deal a lot of damage or hold up to a bunch of damage from an enemy, right? Fun is where you are knowledgeable enough to keep your leader safe and move your troops around to where your troops don't get hit, but you can still attack other people. And then the third thing, the devastating part, is when you're so large that you can't hide any of your troops and basically you get zeroed. Like whether you're offline or you get rallied when you have fury, that can be also devastating mentally, like in your head mentally. It's very devastating for a player to be zeroed, especially if they're free to play, right? If you spend money, you're like, oh well, a couple of paychecks and I'll be back up at the top again. So this game is the experience from this game is very different from person to person, but one method that you can use to get your solo war points is by attacking other castles. Now, based on those three difficulties, depending on how strong or knowledgeable you are as a player or how strong your account is, this may be easy. This may not be easy. So whether you're attacking castles or you're attacking resource tiles, you always have to keep in mind that people can attack you no matter how big they are or strong they can attack you whether they fail or you fail. So you always have to make sure that you know how to keep your leader safe, prevent your troops from dying as much as possible because the idea, well, at least my idea of KVK is being able to max out solo war without tearing the crap out of my castle, right? So, another method that you can do. Wait, before we move on to another method, I want to talk more about um, attacking tiles, right? Some castles will be abandoned, and some castles will be caught off guard and they'll have troops and stuff out. But tiles, a lot of people gather online, and we'll go over the why they do this. But a lot of people will gather online during KVK and Kingdom versus Kingdom events. And when you try to attack their tile, they'll pull their troops off of the tile. So you will end up spending many, many, many random relocators trying to find tiles to attack so you can get points. And many people will gather with tier 1 troops, which, if you look at the kill soldiers, tier 1 is hardly any, like no points at all, right? There's very little. And I mean, Occupying Wonders is more of like a pay to win thing. Like if you're spending money, you could probably do this, but if you're free to play, no, not happening. You'll end up destroying your entire account and you'll be miserable. Just a heads up there. Um, hunting hunting can be really fun. It can be really beneficial, but the problem with hunting is that it is frustrating because people will try to steal your monster constantly. You can go around stealing others, but you'll spend a lot of random relocators trying to do this, looking for people hunting. It's a pain in the butt, okay? Like it's very very annoying to do this, all right? And it costs a lot of energy. So, which I like to save my energy for monster hunting events. So, I don't hunt monsters for KVK for myself. You know, if there comes an opportunity and I have a bunch of energy, sure, I'll hit it. But I'm not going to do this as a main form of getting points to finish solo war. Um, what I do, because my castle is very large and I can't hide my troops, and it'd be very unsafe for me. It would not be safe for me to trigger fury. So I gather. All right, that's what I do. I used to fight and hit tiles and stuff all the time, but when I got to the point to where I could not hide my troops, I started shielding. And what I used to do is I would break my shield without triggering fury, and I would put an anti-scout on. I would stay online, and I would try to bait people to attack my castle because I used to be lower might, so people thought that they could burn my castle, right? So I would trap them essentially. I would trap their troops. I would get kills. I would do that. But now, like people don't send solo marches at me anymore. They just scout me and they see anti-scout and they're like, "Okay, let's rally this guy." They don't like there's no step in between. Literally it goes from scout to rally. So I don't bother doing that anymore. I don't see the point in it. People aren't going to send me solo marches. So I gather. And I stick to ore tiles because the others the points are less, and you can find a good amount of ore tiles. I try to stick to level 3 tiles because that way I can spend less time traveling between the tiles in my castle and more time actually gathering the resources. So, I do grab gold tiles if I get the opportunity to do it, but gold tiles are harder to find. And usually if you find one, majority of the time someone is already on that tile. So I will grab a gold tile if I get the opportunity to do it, but usually I just stick to ore. Level 2 or level 3, level 4 if you can manage it, alright? But people will attack tiles. Now speaking of attacking tiles, um, many players will go around attacking tiles to begin with just for points. They'll try to hit your troops. Now, the worst thing about getting hit by getting your tiles hit is that you lose all of the resources that you had already gathered on that tile. So if you've been sitting on that tile for an hour and you gathered like 500,000 resources, like 500k, all of that's gone. All of the progression that you've made on that tile for the last hour was for nothing. All right? So that's why I say to stay online. It's not necessarily because you'll get wounded troops, which you can just heal your troops, especially if they're tier 1. Very easy to do. It's because you lose your resources that you have made progress collecting already on that tile. You lose all of it. So getting your tiles hit when you're trying to gather for points is very irritating. Um, so try to stay online if you can. Use some headphones. Use a pair of wireless headphones so you can hear that sound when they either scout or try to hit your tile. That way you know to get to your phone very quickly to pull your troops off. Um, Couple things that'll make gathering easier, which I've been gathering for the past several KVKs, for the past several months, ever since people started rallying me instead of hitting me. The last time I failed a KVK by trying to trap, I haven't done that since because the rewards for solo war they're just too good to just pass up, right? So you don't want to take your chances. That's why I just gather. That's why I gather. All right. But a couple things to make gathering easier is talents. So you go into your talents and you can. I actually have this set up. I have an innate talent for KVK gathering. All right. You can see what I've done here. The first thing you want to do when you set this up is come down here. Where is it at? Come down here and get gathering speed 2 and max load 2. All right. Max them both out. They each cost 50 points. Max them out, and then scroll up and then get these other two, gathering 1 and max load 1. So what these are going to do is allow you to gather the resources faster while on the tile and then carry more. So really, if you're being able to carry more resources, then you can stay on the tile longer, so you waste less time traveling. All right. And on top of that, you don't have to send as many troops. Like, you can send less troops to the tile, which minimizes the amount of troops you have to heal if they get hit, right? If your tile gets hit. So another thing is training speed. I recommend training speed. And why training speed is because training speed reduces the amount of time you use on your, or you reduces the amount of time it takes to heal your troops, right? If you're using tier 2 or tier 3 to gather, which I understand why, because they can carry more, alright? Training speed, alright? Training speed 2 and training speed 1. If you can get both of them, great. If not, stick with 2, but if you cannot reach 2, you just use training speed 1, alright? That being said, make sure that you have enough infirmary capacity to send all of the troops out that you are using to gather, alright? You don't want to send out like 300,000 troops and then your infirmaries can only hold like 100,000, right? Because if your tiles get hit, well, guess what you're losing? Troops. You're losing troops. You're losing potential points that you can get from gathering because your tiles got hit. So there's a lot of things that can go wrong if you go offline while you're gathering. So make sure you're online, watching your account. This last KVK, it took me like 12 hours. Usually it only takes me about 6 hours of gathering. I don't know why it took me 12 hours, but it did. Probably because for a couple hours I was going on level 1 tiles because the kingdom was chaotic and there's people everywhere and people were trying to hit my level 1 tiles, and I'm like, why would you hit level 1 tiles? Like, why are you over here? But like, I did it to get away from everyone, but I think that slowed me down as gathering on the level 1 tiles. So level 2 is better. I recommend level 3 because it's easier to find level 3 tiles without being in the way of other people, so you can kind of spread out more and still have access to level 3 tiles. So I do recommend that specifically. Um, As another thing that can help you with gathering speed, if you come over here to speed ups and you like scroll down, there's a gathering boost, and it's really cheap to buy. But if you participate in all of the other events in the game, you can get gathering boost. I've never bought a gathering boost. Alright, guys? I've never bought one. Yet I have 28 of them, okay? So I don't use these for anything else outside of KVK. I use them because I don't gather, alright? But save these for KVK. Alright? Save it for KVK, and it'll give you a bit of a boost. It's not a lot, but it's a good chunk. Alright? It's a good chunk. And it'll help you get to solo war. So you want to make sure that you get that solo war max reward because it's so much beneficial, and it's the best way to get monster chests in the game. If you're trying to upgrade war gear and stuff, make sure you are getting solo war max rewards for every KVK if possible, Alright? Use the gather boost, use your talents, and if you don't have this research already, I recommend you getting it. It's in upgrade military. Get gathering priority. You can set it. You can set it to uh, use the lowest tier of troops and the least amount of troops that you need to zero out the tile. Okay, so the gathering priority makes gathering easier. You just click on the tile. You already have your gathering priority set, and then click, send your troops. It's that easy. You don't have to worry about sliding or trying to figure out how many troops you need to be able to carry all the resources. A gathering priority, all right. Like it's going to make things less annoying, all right. It's going to make the process a little bit faster and less stressful. So get that if you can. It's pretty easy to get. Um, that's pretty much it for Solo War. If you guys have any questions, comment down below. And I hope you guys learned something today because KVK can be a very stressful headache, especially if you're free to play. You don't want to get zeroed, but you still want the points. Save your relocators. Use the random relocators because you get a lot more of those, and you don't want to use your gems to move around. So, oh, real quick before I end the video, I do want to mention that when you move to a new kingdom, you have 4 hours before the system moves you back to your home kingdom. And I don't know if that is in regular KVK, but it is in Kingdom Clash, which is the past KVK we just had. Um, you have 4 hours to stay in the kingdom, to gather, to hunt monsters, to do whatever, hit tiles. 4 hours. Set an alarm on your device, on a phone, some device near you to where you're going to see the notification. Set it 20 minutes before your 4 hour time limit ends. That way you have time to come back into the game. If you're doing other stuff and distracted, the alarm will notify you. That way you can pull your troops off the tiles, because if you don't pull your troops off of your gathering tiles and the system moves you, you lose all of those resources that you were just. So if you just spent like an hour gathering on 5 different tiles, you lose all of it. All right. So make sure that you are setting an alarm for that 4 hour time limit. All right. So okay, this is definitely the last bit of the video. All right, guys. I hope you guys learned something today. Best of luck with getting your max solo war rewards, and check out my other videos for like fighting and castle setup and stuff like that. Peace out, guys. Stay safe.